Good morning and welcome to EMTV. The number of female professors is increasing, steadily but unfortunately slowly. It will be years before we reach gender balance in the academia. How are we going to make sure that the number keeps increasing? Can we speed up the growth? That will be today's topic. But first, news. The Erasmus University will be spending 20 million euros this year on the corona crisis. Faculties had to spend a lot of money on online education. Lack of time for grant applications and delays in research projects are also pushing the financial figures firmly into red. There is a tear in the ceiling of the car park beneath the Erasmus Plaza. On Wednesday, all cars had to leave the park. It is now closed for safety reasons, and it is not known yet when the car park will reopen. How is Corona affecting your study results, social contacts, and love life? What are your thoughts on remote lectures and exams? Take part in our big Corona survey. You can find the survey at erasmusmagazine.nl. Staying active is a challenge while working from home, but don't worry. EM's favorite trainer Garfi Privania from Erasmus Sport has some tips on how to do little exercises when you are sitting behind your desk.
Hallo, ik ben Garfi, ik ben 33 jaar. Ik ben een aantal jaar werkzaam op Erasmus Universiteit. Ik ben door Erasmus Magazine gevraagd om een paar leuke tips aan jullie te geven voor als je te lang achter het bureau zit. Tips, een paar oefeningen die je gewoon zittend eigenlijk aan het bureau kan doen, is eigenlijk een paar nekoefeningen. Dus wat we kan doen is dan onze schouders goed naar beneden duwen, onze kin op de borst en vanuit daar gaan we rustig naar links en naar rechts. En wat belangrijk is bij deze oefening is dat we onze schouders goed naar beneden blijven duwen, zodat er een extra stretch komt op je nekspieren en op je trapezius, de achterkant van je nek. En wat we ook kunnen doen is bijvoorbeeld onze nek naar voren duwen en naar binnen. Ziet er misschien een beetje raar uit, maar als je hem goed uitvoert, dan voel je de achterkant hier en naar binnen. Voel je hem hier. En dit soort oefeningen op je oor zo dicht mogelijk bij je schouder brengen en tegelijkertijd je schouders naar beneden blijven duwen. Dat is heel belangrijk. En vanuit daar grote schouderrollen naar achteren maken. En wat ook helpt is bijvoorbeeld de handen bij elkaar lang maken en je hoofd goed er doorheen duwen en dat dit even vasthoudt. Het zijn hele simpele oefeningen, heel makkelijk, die je eigenlijk gewoon heel simpel achter je bureau kan doen.
The number of female professors in the Netherlands is higher than ever. However, the growth seems to be stagnating. Can we do something about it? Here with me is Hanneke Takkenberg, chair of Dutch Network of Female Professors. Welcome, Hanneke. And Hanneke, yesterday your network launched an annual report on the number of female professors, and it is growing. Is this a reason for celebration?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks. Yeah, yesterday actually on behalf of our network of women professors, I had the honor to present the Monitor 2020 to the Minister of Education. And I just want to show it. Here it is.
Of course.
And we're very proud of it. We've been doing this for 12 years in our network. And it has become an important instrument of influence in pushing the numbers up when it comes to women professors. And indeed, as you say, 24.2% of professors right now are women. Mm-hmm. However, this is of course not representative. If you look around at the university, more than half of our students is female. And therefore we've been pushing for the past, well actually almost 20 years next year, to get these numbers up. Last year it was 23.1% and the growth is only 1%, therefore, and so that's what's worrisome.
It is stagnating, and we still have a long way to go.
Yeah. If you calculate according to the current trend, it will take until 2041 before we will reach a 50-50 equilibrium.
That's more than 20 years.
Yeah, I'll be retired by then, and I don't want that. So.
You don't want that. You want it to be in your time.
Absolutely.
But you also said that yesterday was a good day because the society, the university society said, we will do this, even though that the House of Representatives said, no, this is undesirable.
Yeah, and of course, related to the monitor, there's a lot of other movements going on within academia. There's recognition and rewards, but there's also the National Action Plan on Diversity and Inclusion in Higher Education. The minister launched it last week, presented it, of course, to Parliament, and there was a lot of pushback. Yesterday, during the presentation of the monitor, the chair of the committee for the National Action Plan Diversity, Vinod Subramaniam, he is the rector magnificus of the Vrije Universiteit, and he responded and he said that even though Parliament may not be ready for it, the academic world will push forward and go ahead with the plan.
So, but the reason of the Parliament is that you should only judge people by the skills. It sounds logical to do that, but what's the downside of this approach?
Well, it sounds 50s to me. I mean, it's like being set back in time about 70 years. Because, of course, the argument is always we go for quality. But right now, quality is defined by male stereotype norms. And diversification, as we see in our society as well, is direly needed within academia in order to keep in contact with society and also in order to create effective teams that push innovation and that are highly successful. So we need it. It's not like the women want it. No, it's what we need as a university community.
Nice. And you set a goal for 2025 that a third of all professors should be women. What should have been done, or what needs to be done to reach this target?
Yeah, what we've seen in 2018, there has been an impulse from the Minister of Education, the Westerdijk Talent Impulse, and it added 100 extra women professors, thereby last year pushing up the percentage point growth with 2.2%. Now we're down to 1%. I think it's important to realize that within the universities, we need to systematically address this issue. And we should not be dependent on external impulses. This is something that we should drive from within our university. And within Erasmus University, we've started doing that. And especially our Chief Diversity Officer, Semiha Denktas, together with, of course, the executive board, has started to implement plans to do so. So we have a 25-25 initiative that stimulates women in assistant and associate professors. And there's some other things going on. For example, Erasmus University has decided on a new policy, and last year they moved all professors by special appointment, a lot of women in there, to full professors. So these are small measures that help along the way.
It's great that you mentioned Semiha Denktas, because she is also joining us today digitally. Good morning, Semiha.
Good morning.
And Semiha, at many universities, the growth of female professors is stagnating, but it's not the case with our university, of course. And the number rose from 30% in 2017 to 21% last year, and now is at 25%. Is this a reason to be proud?
Yeah, I'm extremely proud. I think we made a huge leap forward. And I think the reason is that we approached it holistically from a system. So like Hanneke mentioned, the conversion of endowed professors was the first step, but that only explains a little bit of the growth, because that happened by the end of December 2018. And from 2019 until the midst of this year, we had a growth of about 4% extra. So that's not the only reason that we achieved this leap forward, because we had an integral approach. So we have developed a new toolkit for inclusive recruitment and selection, and now an e-module is accompanying. And we have paid attention to inclusive leadership and training, and specifically women in academia, I would like to mention. And we have been investing in social safety by attracting experts from other organizations. So we've been doing a lot of things at the same time. And I think that's the reason that we are now that we have been very successful. So I'm extremely proud, and of course we are doing this together with all the deans, the academic community, the faculty diversity officers, the executive board, of course, has been tremendously supportive. So yes, I'm very happy.
And but I'm particularly interested in the promotion, the large-scale promotion of appointing endowed professors to as full professors. Does this need? It did feel like magic tricks. Is it? How you think?
No, like I explained, that was a first step, and we still have endowed professors at the university, at the Erasmus University. It's not a policy that was completely thrown away or something, but indeed there was a conversion of endowed professors in which we have men and women. But that only explains a part of this growth, because that conversion ended at the end of 2019, and we are looking back at the period 1 year back with the Female Professors Monitor. And what we see is that we still had an extra growth of almost 4%. So we can't just explain everything with this conversion.
Yeah.
But still, I think it was a great first step. But we still see that we have assistant and associate professors in our pipeline. And that's why the policy 2525 is also important, that we keep on working on this issue. We're not done yet, like Hanneke said.
Yeah,
and,
but 2525 is 25% of female professors in 2025. But if we have already achieved the number, what should we be doing for the next 5 years?
So this next week, I'm going to talk to the executive board, and the week after, I think, with the supervisory board to talk about future plans. Because, like you said, in November this year, we already achieved 25%, which is, I think, great. But I think it's time to talk about the future, and that we should keep on moving, because you don't want to stop now.
Yes, we will hear more about that next week, I hope. And Hanneke, we already mentioned the large-scale promotion. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm very happy about it. I mean, actually, I was one of those professors, so I can't complain at all, no.
Okay, so it is necessary, and
it's been something that has been discussed over a lengthy period of time, over years. And I'm really happy that it finally happened. And as Semiha says, a lot of other things are going on at this university. And I think it's really a positive thing, what we see right now for the future. And in hindsight, you should have set the target at 30% in 2025, Semiha. I think you will make it.
So you have to be more ambitious.
I know she is, yeah.
And Semiha, we also expect that a large number of professors, male professors, will retire the upcoming years. And will this be an opportunity to promote more diversity? Or in other words, to appoint other than cis male white professors?
Yes, of course, that is an opportunity. And so to us, diversity is not just about gender. Today we're, of course, and yesterday we're celebrating the growth of the number of female professors. And that's very important and very good. But that's only one dimension of diversity. I think we as a university are in a very diverse environment in the city of Rotterdam. So indeed, and that's the request of our students too. Yesterday evening, we had an exceptional meeting with a lot of international students and students with a migration background, and they are calling for action. And we have been listening to them carefully. And I think these are the next steps that need to be taken.
And you said that it's not only about gender and that the university is very diverse, but you also said in earlier interview that the university is diverse but not inclusive. And how do you already have a plan how to make an inclusive university?
Yeah, that's a part of this holistic approach. I mean, that's part of a culture change. So you can't be inclusive unless you change your organizational culture where everyone feels at home and they feel entitled to voice their opinion, that they have equal access to all information and networks. And one of the bigger programs that we launched just before summer was the outreach program, Bridging Our Future. This is exactly what I mean when we talk about how can we make sure that this university is accessible to everyone and that everyone feels at home.
Yeah.
So we still have a long way to go. But I'm very optimistic because I think we made such an important change already, and like I said, everyone is looking forward to making the next steps.
And Hanneke, are you also optimistic on this?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic, but of course with sensitive themes, as you've seen in Parliament, concerning diversity in our society, it's always 3 steps forwards, 2 steps backwards. That's my experience. And so it is very important that the university, like Erasmus University, has installed a Chief Diversity Officer that has sufficient means and people to actually execute those plans, because otherwise it's going to remain chit-chat. And it's going to remain talk. And I think this university is coming a long way, having been all the way down the list when it comes to the representation of women. But you see them slowly get up and use it. It's done in a way. I hope that they reach the 30% mark pretty soon, so that it will become sustainable.
But what can we do to make sure that the change is actually happening? Because we've been talking about this for years, 20 years, if like you said. But why is the change?
Well, I always say change starts with yourself. So it starts with the individuals in our community. And that's a great example Semiha gave of the students. They start moving. The women in our organization, they start moving through fame. At the central level, also at the executive board, they notice things need to be moving, and themselves, our rector magnificus, Rutger Engels, has been also voicing that. And that's very important at an individual level. At the same time, it's very important also at an organization level to make sure that procedures are inclusive. For example, if you want to advance to the next stage in your career, you should know what you're up to. The criteria should be diverse and not only focused, like in science is usually done, on output and how much money you bring in, but it's much more. It's also about leadership, the connection with society, education, very important. So that at an organizational level. And then maybe most important and most difficult is culture. And I usually speak of a culture of care that you would like to have within your university rather than an individualistic, competitive culture as we have right now.
Yeah.
And I sense that this is changing, and it's changing because also our society is changing. There's awareness among the leadership within academia in the Netherlands, and they're also making the first steps. And I think we're heading the way, but we need all 3 of these.
Okay, we need all of them.
Yeah.
And talking about Rector Magnificus, Semiha, Rutger Engels is leaving in a few weeks, and the Erasmus University had never appointed female rector. Wouldn't it be unacceptable if the next rector turns out to be a man again?
I think the supervisory board really should take these voices seriously, and I'm sure they do. That I think this would be a wonderful opportunity to recruit a female rector magnificus for our university. And so I would support that fully. And I think it is time. We need more female deans, more female rectors, and women in these positions.
Yeah. Yeah, and Hanneke, I imagine you're sitting behind the scene shouting, "It's about time to appoint a woman."
Well, I've been doing so for a couple of years. In the meantime, you see in the Netherlands that there are now 3 women rectors. And that's a good thing. But indeed, it's not only about representation in scientific lines. More important, it's about representation of women and diversity in a broader sense, also in our decision-making bodies. So it's not because we need one woman in there. No, it's because we do need a diversity of perspectives, also in our executive board and also among our deans, to have these lively discussions about these times that are obviously changing right now.
So let's hope that the change comes quickly. Hanneke Takkenberg and Semiha Denktas, thank you so much for the conversation on gender balance in this university. And as we know, there are more genders than just male and female. And here's a tip if you accidentally misgender someone.
How to act when you misgendered someone. So when someone says, "Oh, I use they them pronouns," instead of saying,
"Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I feel so embarrassed. I just thought with short hair and all."
just say,
Thanks, I'll keep an eye on it.
Thank you all for watching. Next week we will have our Christmas edition, so be sure to stay tuned on Thursday, 9 a.m. In the meantime, check erasmusmagazine.nl.